From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Congressional District 2 is still a battleground, but new members of Congress should be on Capitol Hill today. Find out if Martha McSally made the trip. But Arizona Representative Ruben Gallego is already getting to work. Immigration reform is the first thing on his plate, and he's letting Congress know. And later, we took a look into technology developed right here in the Valley, allowing one disabled man to use computers and communicate all with his eyes.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Samantha Davis. Thanks for joining us. We're beginning tonight with team coverage from our Washington Bureau with updates about Capitol Hill. First, we're taking a look at a race that still hasn't ended. The too close to call race for Congressional District 2 between Martha McSally and Ron Barber. In Washington today, new members of Congress are checking in for orientation, but Arizona's District 2 seat is still up for grabs. Washington reporter Brittany Bade has an update.
New members from all over the country are here at the Capitol Hill Hotel behind me checking in, but one person that's not here is Republican Martha McSally. She is back in Tucson waiting for the last 200 provisional ballots in Pima County to be counted. Right now, she is ahead of Democratic incumbent Ron Barber by just 133 votes. That's a very narrow lead. In Arizona, if a candidate wins by less than 200 votes, a recount is required. If this happens, and many experts are saying it will be the first recount ever in a race for an Arizona congressional seat. If McSally does win, she will join Congressman-elect Ruben Gallego as Arizona's newest members of Congress. On Capitol Hill, Brittany Bade, Cronkite News.
And while District 2 gets sorted out, another Arizona representative isn't wasting any time getting to business. While other new members of Congress take orientation slow, Representative Ruben Gallego is making an early stand for immigration reform. Stephen Hicks in Washington joins us now with a story. Stephen?
That's right, Sammy. Congressman Gallego hasn't even been sworn in yet, and yet he's already jumping into the fray on immigration, calling on the president to take action.
Thank you. Since I'm the new guy in town, for the record, my name is Ruben Gallego.
On his first day in Washington, Gallego joined a coalition of House Democrats, including Arizona Congressman Raul Grijalva, to echo what immigration groups last week called on the president to do: act boldly on immigration reform and act now.
There's urgency to this. You said you were going to do it. Go big. Go big.
Gallego said that urgency to stop deportations is what brought him out today.
It makes no sense to separate a father from his daughter or his son when we know in a couple months we're probably going to get either comprehensive immigration reform or some other form of relief.
Gallego said he doesn't care if the reform comes from the president or from Congress, just that it happens and that it happens soon.
A lot of us will be happy with deferred action in the meantime, but we cannot give up on the idea of comprehensive immigration reform.
Freshman orientation for new members of Congress begins tonight and continues the next 2 days. It's where they'll learn the ropes and get their newly assigned offices, something Gallego, who's been working without an office, said he's looking forward to. Live in Washington, D.C., Stephen Hicks, Cronkite News.
Arizona's approved Proposition 303 with nearly 80% of the vote. Cronkite News reporter Sierra Oshrin went out and found exactly what that means for patients with terminal illness.
And we said, we don't care. It doesn't matter. We don't need proof. We don't need evidence. We just need to save his life.
Paulina Morris is the mother of a 13-year-old cancer survivor. Her son, Diego, was diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer when he was 11 years old. So without question, Paulina and her husband packed up everything and moved to London for 9 months to get access to MTP, an immune-boosting drug that wasn't available in the United States.
It's terrible not having your husband there or your dad. It was an awful experience to be away from home, but thank God Diego is cancer-free.
And now, for many Arizonans, that won't have to be the case. Arizona passed Proposition 303, which grants terminally ill patients the right to try experimental drugs that haven't been fully approved by the FDA.
A long time and a lot of money, and people can't wait. When you find out you have a terminal illness, you need to act quickly.
But not everyone is convinced. Arizona Representative Eric Meyer, a former ER doctor, told Cronkite News that the first phase of approval is the lowest threshold, and he's too often seen patients who have died from the treatment, not the disease. But for Paulina and her family, the passing of the proposition means the world.
Because a lot of people wouldn't have been able to do what we were able to do. So we want more people to be able to get access to drugs and treatment here in Arizona.
Reporting in Phoenix, Sierra Oshrin, Cronkite News.
Arizona is already the 5th state in the country who has approved right to try. Paulina and her family intend to push it around the country and introduce it to many states. Since same-sex marriage was legalized in Arizona, couples across the state have married and are now planning wedding ceremonies. Reporter Michael Gordon is here to tell us how those ceremonies could help Arizona's economy. Michael?
Sammy, now that many of these same-sex couples are officially married, they have begun planning their wedding ceremonies, which should provide a lot of excitement for them, while also providing a surprising boost to the state's economy. Most importantly, the legalization of gay marriage allows Arizonans like Kim and Rebecca Johnston to officially recognize their union. But Pastor James Pennington knows it's also helping the state's economy.
Weddings, divorces, registries, economic boost. It comes in all shapes and sizes.
CNN reports that the average wedding in America costs about $30,000. To newlywed Kim Johnston, the economic benefits of gay marriage in Arizona have been obvious.
I don't understand economically why the state didn't pass it sooner, because of the amount of money that it's going to bring into the state.
Maricopa County Superior Court Clerk Aaron Nash was one of the first to witness the economic impact as same-sex couples flooded his office on October 17th to buy marriage certificates.
It was a significant increase, about 3 times over our daily average on that Friday and about twice on that Monday.
476 licenses were issued that Friday and the following Monday, bringing in an unexpected $36,000 to Maricopa County in just 2 days. Now those same couples are turning their attention to wedding ceremonies.
They're going to probably spend more than many of the heterosexual couples.
Where they can open up their creative side and their wallets.
There's been an overwhelming number of individuals that really want to take advantage of this because they've been waiting.
Now, the joy from these weddings should also leave a smile on the faces of Arizona business owners. The Williams Institute, a think tank over at UCLA School of Law, recently released a study indicating that same-sex marriages in Arizona should generate about $62 million in spending in the state over the next 3 years alone. In Phoenix, Michael Gordon, Cronkite News.
Now let's check in with Sydney Schumann for what's next.
Overcrowding in prisons continues to be a problem, but this new facility will be helping the over 7,000 new inmates in Arizona prisons. And find out how eye tracking technology is making its way into homes of the disabled and changing lives.
Brothers and sisters, can you tell me where to go?
The women were breaking the glass ceiling.
That just thrilled me. We're traveling back in time to help solve family mysteries.
No way! That's amazing.
A new deal for the American people.
We wouldn't be who we are without them.
I just gotta get on back to my home at any cost.
Who were the people that got us from there?
A world without glass, clean drinking water, time, or light.
To here.
These were hobbyists, garage inventors, and obsessive tinkerers. These are people who actually made the modern world, who set off an amazing chain reaction of ideas.
It's the story of How We Got to Now with Stephen Johnson, coming in October, only on PBS.
I'm standing up for myself and for other people like me.
Wow. This is a bit odd.
Are you okay?
It's kind of insane, but in a good way.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. The Arizona Department of Corrections has added about 7,000 inmates this fiscal year to its already huge prison population. To help alleviate overcrowded cells, the ADC added a new maximum security unit at Lewis State Prison. Reporter Tweelon Nugent got a behind-the-scenes look at the state-of-the-art facilities.
What we ended up doing was installing bunk beds, and that has been our answer or solution to dealing with overcrowding.
To help alleviate some of that overcrowding, Lewis State Prison in Buckeye has added a new maximum custody facility to its complex.
We do a needs assessment to try and determine what is the best way to program that person during their incarceration and to assign them appropriately to a unit.
And if that assessment determines that an inmate requires maximum custody, they may be placed in one of the 500 new beds, but there won't be a lot of privacy or comfort.
And as we can see, the doors is see-through.
The $50 million project includes state-of-the-art security systems, enclosed recreational areas, and classrooms.
Prison should not be, in my opinion, about a lot of personal choices that inmates can pick and choose what they want to do.
And in the new unit, they won't have a lot of personal privacy, thanks to several well-placed security cameras. In Buckeye, Tweelon Nugent, Cronkite News.
Inmates from other Arizona state prisons will be transferred to the facility starting on December 1st. And did you know it's possible to control a computer using only your eyes? For some people living with disabilities, it's the only way they can control it. Winnie Mancini joins us now with how a donated technology is changing lives.
Thanks, Sydney. A Mesa-based company is making strides in what's called assistive technology. The founder of iTech says he was interested in using eye tracking for relief from repetitive strain from too much typing. But the eye tracking technology he created is helping empower the disabled.
But see, all I gotta do is click with my eyes. I click on backspace.
Howard Bell is explaining how he uses eye tracking, a technology he says has changed his life.
So a blink is the same as a mouse click.
Bell overcame infantile spinal muscular atrophy, but it left him severely disabled. Now he's the head of a nonprofit called Boundary Breakers.
That's just me showing you how I can use my phone.
Bell first discovered eye tracking technology on a museum field trip with students.
And I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're like, Mr. Bell, you have to do this. Mr. Bell, you have to do this. I'm like, guys, you know I can't play video games. I can't use my hands. And they're like, no, you can do this one. You can use your eyes. I'm like, what?
Mesa's iTech donated this black box at the bottom of Bell's screen. It's the piece of hardware that lets his eyes control his computer.
The infrared lights here, there's two IR sources of light, and then a single camera in the middle.
Keith Jackson is director of sales and marketing at iTech, and he says eye tracking uses infrared light, a digital camera, and an algorithm.
As your pupil looks on the screen or rotates, based on the curvature of the eye, our algorithm is able to detect the exact XY gaze position.
Bell says eye tracking transformed his professional life. He can respond to emails and do research with his eyes, and he's still looking forward.
Because it told me that, hey, if I can do this on my own, then what else can I do on my own?
Bell says that's anything from adjusting his thermostat to drumming up donations so others can change their lives in a blink. Eye tracking technology is not just for those with disabilities. iTech products are being used in everything from museum exhibits to lie detector tests. Live in the control room, Winnie Mancini, Cronkite News.
Now let's hand it over to Carrie Osip with a look at what's coming up on Cronkite News.
Gas prices are the lowest they have been in years, but those savings might not last much longer. We tell you what you can expect throughout the upcoming holiday season. And the latest college football playoff rankings are out. We break down Arizona State's road to the Final Four and let you know which teams make up the top 10.
News doesn't stop on Friday at 7:30 at night. PBS NewsHour Weekend is kind of a natural next step. The NewsHour's been committed to being available on air or online, and now weekdays or weekends. There's no shortage of news that's out there, but why do people come to us? To give them some context and analysis that they can't find somewhere else.
PBS NewsHour Weekend, only on PBS. Check local listings.
These
These extraordinary Americans all share one thing in common, a past they never knew until now.
It's incredible.
In his new season on PBS, Henry Louis Gates Jr. helps them uncover the truth about where they come from.
I can't believe these documents even exist.
Wow. Get to know them as they discover who they really are.
That's pretty amazing.
Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates Jr. starts Tuesday, September 23rd at 8, 7 Central, only on PBS.
I'm free. I'm free. And freedom tastes of reality.
Welcome back. After losing last year to Notre Dame in Texas, the Sun Devils got their revenge at home on Saturday, lifting them to the number 6 spot in the college football playoff rankings and well into the national conversation. So here's a look at the new playoff rankings. Hanging on to the top spot is Mississippi State, with Pac-12 North Oregon sliding into second and ASU right behind Alabama at number 6. The Sun Devils' path into the top 4 is simple: win out, beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, and a one-loss Arizona State will be hard to deny. Of course, that includes games at Oregon State this weekend, Washington State at home, and a looming Territorial Cup in Tucson. I caught up with Athletic Director Ray Anderson, Coach Graham, and his team to see how they plan to fight their way into the very first college football playoffs. After a big win over Notre Dame this past weekend, ASU football has launched itself into the national spotlight, something that is a little new to the team.
And now that we've earned it by playing as well as we have in key games, then it's a different conversation for us. We're on everybody's mind, and we like being there. We think we deserved and have earned our way there. And now our job is to stay there.
In his first year as athletic director for ASU, Ray Anderson is excited about what the football team has been able to accomplish this season.
And really getting over that perception that they couldn't win the big one. We won the big one, and going forward, we will continue to expect to win the big ones. And you know, our opponents should understand we're capable, and that makes it fun.
But ASU can't get too distracted by the numbers.
Can't let up right before you accomplish something great, and we've got a tall order, going on the road in the Pac-12, and beating any opponent in the Pac-12. It's just that much parity and that much challenge. So it's exciting. I'm not going to lie to you, but we've got to keep focused on the job at hand. That's to beat Oregon State and then go to the next one.
It's an honor to be where we are, and it's a great thing that we're getting recognized and stuff nationally. But I mean, we got a long way to go. So I mean, we still got a chip on our shoulder, and we got to continue to play like that.
A leader on the field, running back DJ Foster, says the team's mission is clear.
I mean, we're getting closer and closer to championship season, and we know we got a long way to go. We got a lot more games to win, but it's a great thing that just every week we're getting closer and closer to our dream, and we just got to keep continuing to work hard.
And keeping their focus is what ASU needs to claim a spot in the new playoff championship.
And so if we take care of our business on the field, and it's one game at a time, then we will position ourselves to be in the top 4 conversation, and that's what we want, and that's where we are.
But the Sun Devils' most pressing challenge will be that weather up there in Oregon this weekend. Elle Johns is tracking the forecast.
Well, I hope the Devils are ready for some cooler weather. On Saturday in Corvallis, game time is at 7:45, and temperatures are going to dip into the 30s. The good news is there's no rain in the forecast, just some partly cloudy skies. Right now, back in Phoenix, we have 77 degrees, sunny skies with some light cloud coverage, and winds from the northwest at 3 miles per hour. Currently around the valley, we have 75 in Scottsdale, 77 in Mesa, and 77 in Tempe. As you can see, those temperatures are right in line with the average. 77 today, 77 is the average. But the north part of the state is getting hit with some of that colder weather. Right now in Flagstaff, we have 54, the Grand Canyon 58, and Winslow 67. That cool Arctic air is hitting the northern part of the states and causing temperatures with single-digit degrees. That front is going to be moving east, though, and hit the coast by Friday. Back here in Phoenix, we're going to cool down tonight. Temperatures are going to be down in the 50s, but we're going to have mostly clear skies. Let's take a look at your 5-day forecast. Tomorrow, temperatures are going to get up into the high 70s, but we're going to heat up even more for the rest of the week, and temperatures are going to be in the mid-80s. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Elle Johns.
And along with cooler weather, radios are playing Christmas music, retailers advertising Black Friday bargains, and Starbucks red cups. Those are all signs that holidays are approaching. And as Tana Hughes joins us to explain, there's a special gift this year in the form of gas prices.
The average Thanksgiving long-distance trip is just over 200 miles, and the Christmas-New Year's average is 275 miles. And as we all know, costs of road trips can add up pretty quick. But thankfully, there's a little holiday relief in store for drivers this year.
While it often seems money is the hardest thing to keep in our pocket during November and December, your corner gas station just might help this holiday season. According to AAA, the statewide fuel price average sits at $2.87 per gallon, and the national average is just below $3. Numbers we haven't seen since 2010.
Considering we're going into Thanksgiving, which is one of the biggest driving holidays of the year, that's great news for travelers hitting the roads.
AAA Public Affairs Specialist Linda Gorman says one of the main drivers behind the drop in fuel prices is the price of oil. The current cost is $75 per barrel, also a 3-year low. Oil makes up about 2/3 of the cost of gasoline.
Oil is the single largest influencer of gas prices. So when oil prices rise, gas prices tend to quickly follow suit.
Jake Berry, a local college student, says the price drop will help him when it comes time to visit his family over winter break.
So a lot of my family lives in California, and so we are now going back there to see them because, I mean, gas prices, yeah, they dropped, and obviously hotels, food, and all that's still the same price, but with gas prices dropping, it's a little bit more intriguing to go see them now.
But experts say, don't count on prices to keep dropping.
In the short term, within the next couple of weeks, gas prices still have a little bit of catching up to do because oil prices have continued to fall. Once we get into that holiday week, prices are likely to tighten up and probably plateau.
According to GasBuddy.com, the lowest fuel price in the state of Arizona currently sits at $2.46 per gallon, located at the Safeway on Waddell Road in Surprise, and in the Valley, $2.57 at the Costco off of Oak Street and 44th Avenue. Live in downtown Phoenix, Tana Hughes, Cronkite News.
Now we're heading back to Samantha Davis for what's coming up next.
38 years of petitioning has led to a lawsuit, and the Mexican gray wolf population may soon be on its way to recovery. Welcome back to Cronkite News. A group of environmental organizations, along with retired federal wolf biologists, have sued the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service today for failing to develop a plan for the Mexican gray wolf. Reporter Kayla Wall joins us with more on these developments.
Groups have been pushing for 38 years to get a plan. A recovery plan would help to rebuild the wolf population and is required under the Endangered Species Act. I spoke to a member of one organization at the forefront of this lawsuit.
You have to map out what it needs to survive and thrive.
For nearly 40 years, U.S. Fish and Wildlife has been responsible for preparing a Mexican gray wolf recovery plan.
That means mapping out areas where it can live. That means giving it full protection under the Endangered Species Act. And in the case of wolves, that's extremely important.
The Center for Biological Diversity says U.S. Fish and Wildlife hasn't done enough, even though Arizona Game and Fish has placed tracking collars and numbers on 59 wolves to date.
For purely political reasons, they've been dragging their feet on this issue for many, many years. And without that kind of a plan, then it's more of a piecemeal approach, what we're seeing right now with the states managing wolves, and that's been a disaster.
They are looking for a plan outlining where the wolves will go, how they'll get there, and how they will thrive there.
There is a place for wolves, but there's a place for wolves in balance with all other species. And so what we're trying to do is find that balance between all the stakeholder needs.
As of November 1st, Arizona Game and Fish has documented 40 pups produced in the wild in this year alone, and a rewrite of a 30-year-old recovery plan is underway.
Ideally, we get a recovery plan in place that's based on the best available science, and it leads us down a path where wolves have a chance to exhibit their normal behaviors and recover areas where they always used to live for thousands and thousands of years.
I reached out to Randy Saraglio today about the filed lawsuit against the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and he said that a clear, science-based recovery plan could prevent the Mexican gray wolf from extinction and ultimately, quote, put it on a path toward health and prosperity. Randy Saraglio is a conservation advocate with the Center of Biological Diversity, which is one of the organizations behind the lawsuit. I'm Kayla Wall, Cronkite News.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.